Professional,
Yeah.
so you can make a rule for yourself that you do not show any properties or give out the address to anybody until they become a client with you and you're working with them. You could do that, couldn't you?
Yes.
And Peter, you can make it an office policy if you want. Maybe everyone will go along with that too. I think it's a good idea, but I don't know, okay? You could say there's security reasons, Privacy Act, you could say all kinds of things. You know, we do not give out any information on any of our listings until we've talked with somebody to see if they're qualified, including the address. Well, then I'll go drive around and look for one. Fine, do what you want, you know? But don't worry about it so much, okay, gang? What did, Barbaz, what did you say at lunch? Don't overthink any of this stuff. Just say, oh, well, in fact, I would love it if you looked at it like it was a franchise, or you just said, even if you said this isn't coming from ego from me. This is just me, by being a trainer for 20 years, I know that if you just say, well, Dwayne told me to do it, I'm just gonna do it, it works. If you just go even to do that, don't fight it, don't overthink it, and don't get your opinion to mess up your success, and just do it. You will find that you'll get used to it and it becomes easier. When you're not used to it, it's hard. Does that make sense? When you're used to it, just think about it. Just think, what would Dwayne do? If somebody called him on a list and said, I want the address, I'm just going to drive by, what would I do? I'd say, no, I'm not going to give out the address right now. Let's just find out if this is what you're looking for. Maybe we can help you. Maybe you set up showings for a few houses. So let me just ask you a few questions. If they don't cooperate, what would I do? Which is the same as what you would do. Well, I can't help you then. Sorry. I had this one lady, again, early in my career, everything happened. I was so busy. She said, I want to see a house. And I said, well, come in the office. She goes, I don't want to come in the office. I said, then I can't help you. I was being nice. I'm being a little direct right now up here. I'm teaching up here. But she said, well, you have to show me the house. I said, no, I don't have to show you. I says, but if you come in and we figure out if you want to hire me and if we're going to get along good, then no problem. We'll show you lots of houses. No, you have to show me this house. I said, no. I said, but if you come in the office, we'll talk. She said, okay, I'll come in the office, but I'm going to make you show me this house, she said. I said, okay, come in the office. She came in the office. She just stood at my door in my office like this. She said, okay, you got to take me there now. I said, no, you don't. I said, grab a seat. And she was, I'm going to complain to your broker. I said, no problem. She's right around the corner. And she went over there and talked to her, and then I just seen her leaving, and that was that. Because they don't have to do nothing if they don't want to cooperate, right? But she actually came in the office to not come in the office. You know what I mean? It was spite. I'm going to come in because I don't have to, and you have to. And I just thought, and when she's standing at the door like this, I almost started laughing. I mean, I was holding it back because I didn't want to be unprofessional, right? But when you get really busy, you see all kinds. And you want to maybe say, the owner asked me not to. And the way you do that is next week I'm going to show you how to do a listing presentation. And in step 3 of your marketing plan, you're going to let them know how you separate the lookers from the buyers. So you're going to say to them, when people want to see your property, we'll make sure they're qualified, and we've been all over all the forms with them, so we're not wasting any of your time. So you don't want to, give out your address so that a bunch of looky-loos come by or get unqualified people coming by, do you? And they go, no, not at all. And say, no problem. We'll protect the address from some of the marketing, and we'll only bring over people that are qualified. So the seller asked you not to. Make sense?
Yes.
Part 4. So you got to get their attention so you can get them to come into the office. So you're looking for one with 3 bedrooms? Yeah, okay. Okay, well, something you said kind of got me thinking, or concerns me. You can change that word. I've been thinking about that for a while. But something you said earlier got me thinking. Sounds like you're looking for something specific, a specific type of home. Is that right? And they'll say, yeah, 3 bedrooms. So tell me more, and look at your call form. So start asking them some of those questions for the content there. How many square feet do you want? Do you want a garage? Do you want? And then they start talking about this house they want, right? And then you got to say to them, now the iceberg technique is where they called on a yard sign, and you can tell them that even though they've seen a couple properties in a neighborhood, we can put their criteria in a database. And listen to this dialogue here for a second. You're going to write this down, because you're going to say to them, we can cross-reference your criteria with every listing in the city. That is very powerful.
We can?
We can cross-reference your criteria with every listing in the city. Is that a true statement?
Yes.
We can cross-reference. Why don't you come in the office? We can cross-reference your criteria with every listing in the city. That way you don't just have to drive around and look for one here and there, right? That's the iceberg technique, right? Everything. So if we don't find exactly what they want in this neighborhood, maybe the neighboring neighborhood has it, and it might be acceptable, right? So we got to offer a solution. So you know what? You could come by the office and become a preferred client. And you know, I can have some questions to answer. We could select some of those properties. We can cross-reference. You know, you can say that saying, and maybe we can even go look at some, like right away. And then you need to close.
To change.
So a good way, yeah, you could do any way you can. I don't know. Come in the office and give you $50. Man, is it worth $50 when they come in? If it is, then go to the bank and get yourself about 20 50s. Nice, crisp, clean bills. And that may be a good way. But I got a better way. What is the better way? It's the alternate choice that I've been saying over and over for weeks already, and I continue to say it. Never ask, always what? Offer. So, you know, we could get together tomorrow at 11, or would 1 be better? I know that sounds a bit more like an ask, but or you could say, why don't we do this? I got some time where I can meet you tomorrow. That's on your clothes here. Ching, ching. At 11, or would 1 be better? Please offer daytime hours unless you only want to work at night. How many of you like to have some daytime appointments during the week, Monday to Friday? If you offer daytime hours Monday to Friday, you get some daytime hours Monday to Friday. If you never offer and you only offer evenings and weekends, you always get evenings and weekends. Does that make sense? So if I offer 10, 11, or 1 and they say, yes, I'm good. If they say, no, I'm working that day, then you say, okay, what about 6:30 or 7? But that's your fallback, unless you just want to work evenings. I knew one guy, I still know him. He's been in my class about 6 times in Calgary. He moved back to Ontario, but he doesn't go to bed till 4 a.m. He's 55 years old. He's never, ever gone to bed before like 2. And he always sleeps till 4 or 5 in the afternoon. Yeah, he's still single. And he does everything at night. And he stays up till 4 in the morning all the time. So I guess if you're like that, I mean, that's up to you. But I can wake up at 6 a.m. without, you know. So, let's see here. The bottom line is this, gang. We don't need them all. We don't want them all. We only want the ones that are what? Help me out with those big words. That are what?
Ready.
Everybody together? Ready, willing, and able to buy a house today. Everyone else we'll keep in touch with.
Yeah.
With our what? Newsletter, events, stuff like that. So we're going to go faster here for a minute, and after we finish the lesson, we will go put some of the slides back up for you. Okay? So I'm going to carry on for now. So we're going to give me an ooh for that. Ooh. Yes, it is a bona fide buyer appointment. And then I just have your weekly activities, and then a poem to read. So the bona fide buyer appointment is this. If they say they confirm they're going to come and see you, so if you book the appointment is what I'm trying to say. If you book the appointment, don't hang up after you book the appointment. Remember, on the prospecting track on your wall, with the close, what am I at?
To change.
The prospecting track says bona fide the listing appointment. All decision makers are present, they all want to sell, CMA information, enough time, what price range home they live in, and what their mortgage balance is. So if we use the prospecting track in the call form to get a buyer to come in the office, we've booked the appointment, we still have to bona fide, but we can't bona fide with the seller questions. We got to bona fide that appointment for a buyer. To bona fide an appointment, that means we've started or finished, but at least started the pre-approval process. So make a note of that. The pre-approval process is, well, the best way to do it would be this, probably. To say, okay, we'll see you Saturday at 2. By the way, do you have a pen handy? So, I mean, that doesn't even sound like dialogue, but it is. So again, you should write that down probably. And you say, by the way, do you have a pen handy? And they say, sure. And you say, write down this name, and you just give them your mortgage broker's name and number. This is really powerful if you do it right. So you say, do you got a pen handy? Yes, okay. Or get a pen. Sometimes I just say, get a pen. Why? Well, I'm going to give you a name and number. I need you to phone them. Did I ask them to phone them?
No.
I said, I need you to phone them. This is after you booked the appointment. I need you to phone them. Why? Oh, he'll be able to help you out with your interest rates, with your mortgage. He's my mortgage broker. He's the best. So you want to know who you're referring to, okay? Because they need to be doing a pre-approval. Now here's the pre-approval that needs to be done. If you're using a mortgage broker that doesn't do what I'm about to say, do not use them. They need to do a credit check. So make a note of that. I'm going to give you the points here right now, what your mortgage broker has to do. They must do a credit check. They must do a application. They must get a job letter or a pay stub. And they must get permission to check the NOA. So what was the first one? Second one?
Application.
That's a mortgage application, yeah. Let's start it. Third?
Job letter.
Job letter and or. Sometimes you need both. And the last one?
NOA.
And what's the NOA stand for?
Notice of assessment.
Notice of assessment through Revenue Canada, because if they owe more than $2,000 in taxes, they can't get a mortgage. Period. So why would we even work with somebody if we haven't verified that? That just sounds crazy, doesn't it? So we're going to talk to a mortgage broker and we're going to say, I'd like to refer you. Can I? Oh yeah, great. I'm only going to refer you if you make sure you do these 4 things. Can you? If they say, no, I only work with live deals, thanks, talk to you later. If they say, well, we do it verbally, thanks, talk to you later. If they say, well, we'll ask them, but sometimes we can't get it all, well, will you do it and then get it done and then call me? No, we'll just give you an idea, thanks, and you're not interested. You not only want them to do those 4 things, but you want them to send you a letter and the buyer a letter saying they're pre-approved and that all this is complete. That's the mortgage broker you want to work with. You got that? Okay, so you got a pen handy? Yeah, okay, well here, call, and what's the mortgage broker's name here?
Turn Glati.
Say that for everybody here.
Turn Glati.
And his number is?
403-400-0093.
Give him a call, tell him we're working with each other, right? And he's going to ask for certain things, he's going to do a few things, and we'll get it all straightened out before I meet you. Before I what?
Meet you.
Yeah, and I'm going to get him to call you as well. So if you didn't write any of that down, you'll forget everything I said. If you wrote everything down and you keep looking at your referral guide every time you're doing work, you'll remember you'll make more what?
Money.
In less
Time. Teaching.
more fun. So now, as soon as you hang up, you call,
Turn Glati.
yeah, hey, what's his name?
Darren.
Taryn?
Yes.
Okay. Or Tarun?
Yeah, Darren.
Okay. Or Terry. Yeah. Call Terry. Hey, Terry, that's Dwayne here. Take this number down, right? It's Sue at 403, da-da-da-da-da. I told her to call you, but I want you to call her too. Don't say if she doesn't call her soon. Tell him to call right away. I had one guy, bad mortgage broker. He said, I'd phone him a week later and say, hey, I'm just wanting an update. He goes, no, she hasn't called yet. I said, well, I told you to call. He said, well, I figured I'd give her some time. I said, no. I mean, when you're doing 50 deals here, this has to go fast.
Yes.
Really fast. So the client phones them, he phones her, or she doesn't yet, but he did, or he didn't yet and she did, but there's a 2-way thing you got going here. Okay? And then, by the time you see them, he should have already sent you that letter.
Right.
When you do the buyer appointment, you'll be able to show the letter. Okay, and then when you write an offer, you should put it with them as long as it doesn't show the amount that they're pre-approved for. So there's 2 different letters. So if you don't do a pre-approval, then I would think if you want to be a professional that you should have to answer the questions, ask the questions. But let me ask you, how many of you want to have a buyer come in and you ask them if they're employed, how long they've been there, what their yearly income is, so you can figure out their TDR, what their expenses are. Ask them if they have talked to their bank, and ask them if they have any credit problems. Honestly, as a realtor, how many of you want to ask those questions? You don't want to. You want the mortgage broker to ask those questions. Does that make sense? Yes. I know you guys are eager and you're motivated and you all want to, and I'm glad you put up your hand and we're all friends, so it's, it's not a bad answer. I appreciate you saying, I'll ask those questions. I got the, whatever to ask those questions, but what I'm getting at is we got to say the mortgage broker needs to ask all those questions. But if you don't get the pre-approval process, I think you should have to ask these questions. But I don't think you should want to or should have to if you use a mortgage broker. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay? And you may not have to ask, in fact, you don't even have to ask these questions if they're pre-approved. Your buyer presentation is going to have 8 steps. The first step is 14 questions to ask a buyer. And the first 7 are right there. So if they come in and you got a pre-approval letter, you know what you can say? Thanks for coming in. let me show you what I got here for you, and you'll tell them the 8 steps first, and you'll say, let me get started on the first one. First one is a series of questions, as I mentioned, and I don't have to ask you the first 7 questions, because I have the pre-approval letter right here. So let's start with question number 8. So you're already saving time?
Yes.
Pretty important, right? So to bona fide, it's to get pre-approval letter before you meet them. If you meet them and the pre-approval letter hasn't come, find out why. If it's on its way, then you may be able to set up some showings, but do not book any showings or do any showings without the pre-approval completed.
Right.
Plain and simple. You'll hear some realtors say, oh, I don't do that. A lot of times you write an offer and it falls apart because of financing.
Yes.
I don't need any of you doing that, right? I think that you should be embarrassed, if I can say it that way, to write an offer without pre-approval confirmed, and it falls apart. You should be embarrassed about that. Don't even do it. Just say to people, we can't do the showings yet. Let's get all that stuff done first. Well, I'll use another realtor then.
That would be best.
That'd be
That would
best.
be best.
Let's just move on. I mean, what else are you gonna do, right? You know, why fight all this stuff? So, your weekly activities. How many of you are gonna look at this before next class and try to check off some of them this time? So it says, go to the office or go to work and prospect 5 days a week, book 3 listing appointments. A7, I'm definitely gonna look at it next week. So everybody turn to A7 right now. And so you guys haven't had much production yet because you're new, but still look at it. You guys had 6 transactions this week. So on A7, it's in the front of your book, administration. I'm going to get you to hand it in next week. And so I want you to look at it to make sure that you're putting your production in there. Okay, go to number 7 there, Peter. So you got yours there, yeah, that looks good. You're putting it on separate lines.
Yeah.
The only thing is this, the buyer listing, you should have the dollar volume under the buyer listing.
Like this one?
See how you got BL?
Yeah.
This is BL.
Okay.
This should be here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, cross it off and put it over there. Yeah, okay? And Peter, you got yours updated?
No.
You need that. And if you
Yes.
have, if
Next
you
week.
don't, you'll be kicking yourself. And
Next
just-
week.
You really have to do that for sure. Who else has, you all have transactions? Just make sure you're doing it, okay?
Okay.
And then go back to this, A6. I'll definitely be here before 9:30, so try to schedule for the snow thing.
Yeah.
Try to be here, or just make sure you're here, right, on time. And, but I understand it was a little tough today because I wasn't part of that. 25 names on the list. What does it say about your pre-list? Bring it to class, a rough draft is okay, put it on the table there, and you can print off my copy as well. Place a property ad. So this one is pretty important. Property ads get leads. Property ads are the best. How many of you have a listing? Okay, so what I want you to do is place a property ad. Now, if you don't know of any print publications that are available or work, then do it online. So we can do it on Kijiji and Craigslist. So take a property, put it on Kijiji and Craigslist, and just show the picture. Maybe they allow 10 pictures. Put the pictures and just put no address, maybe not even the neighborhood, maybe the area, and say, you know, a little bit about it to build it up a bit, and just say, and here's how you do it for online ads. Write this down. At the bottom of your description, put call or text Dwayne Groom at number, and in brackets, no emails, please. Okay, so call or text Dwayne Groom, use your own name, at da-da-da, and in brackets, put what?
No
No
email.
emails, please. Because all you get is a Kijiji email anyways, right?
Yeah.
And it's just a waste of time. So, somebody will text you. I want a little more info about that place. How many bedrooms does it have? So do you text them back?
No.
No, what do? You just call them, you got their number.
Yeah.
Now what if you don't have a listing to advertise? Borrow with another realtor's permission. So how many listings do you have?
70.
17. How many of you are with his office? How many of you are with his office and don't have a listing? He's got one that's 17 you can pick. And he don't mind if you try to sell it. Do you care? Do you mind if they try to sell it?
Not at all.
So You still can put the MLS number, and some of you say, oh, they'll go to realtor.ca and get the address. Who cares? Don't worry about that. You're overthinking it, right? Just don't worry about it. Put nice picture, you know, beautiful house, great location, Northeast Calgary, right? Won't last. Call or text Dwayne, the MLS number, AMG Realty. No emails, please. That's it. I'm going to do this. It's up to you to listen. That's mandatory. Mandatory for all of you to place an ad online. How much does it cost you?
$10.
Costs nothing at first. You can put it on for nothing. And you can repost it 3 days later if you mix up the contents again for nothing. So put it on at least twice. And if you want to give it more of a chance to pay $10 or $50 and boost it or whatever, okay? You got to do it, gang. We got to get moving here, right? See, our class average needs to go up. Reproduce the call form. How many times?
20.
And you don't have to put it on your company letterhead. You can just leave my name on there. Nobody else sees it except you. So you don't have to, but you can. And you need to use it for what?
All your calls.
I swear, from this day forward, to use my call form for all my
calls.
So how am I doing? You know, you got to really do these little things, right, gang?
Yes.
Okay, schedule a day off. Listen to the audio track a minimum of 3 times. And follow us on Facebook, of course. Complete your tasks, great. And then I think you put another one there just saying print off the pre-list sample. And remember, the call form is 20, not 1. The prospecting track on your wall is 1. Because it's something you look at. The call form you're using for every single call, right? So read a poem, then you can stop the recording, and then I'll take a few questions. Not yet. After the poem, I meant. Yeah. So this one's about a smile. Can I see your smiles? Anybody not feel like smiling but can still do it? I don't feel like smiling right now. I mean, this is what we got to do in this business, right? How you doing? You know, as soon as they leave, like, you know, I get it. But I mean, we want to be able to do it naturally more often, obviously. But sometimes it's a little harder. Would you agree? You know. So a smile costs nothing but gives much. It enriches those who receive without making poor those who give. You guys had great smiles, by the way. It takes but a moment, and the memory of it sometimes lasts forever. None is so rich or mighty that he can get along without it, and none is so poor that he can be made rich by it. A smile creates happiness in a home, fosters goodwill in business, and is the countersign to friendship. It brings rest to the weary, cheer to the discouraged, sunshine to the sad, and it is nature's best antidote for trouble. Yet it cannot be bought, bagged, borrowed, or stolen, for it is something that is of no value to anyone until it is actually given away. You know, some people are too tired to give a smile. You know, you've seen these people, right? So give them one of yours, even if you don't feel like it. Give them one of yours, as none needs a smile so much as he who has no more to give. So let's continue to make our dreams come true, gang, and God bless you. And if you need a friend, just give me a call. You got my number and everything, okay?
Yes.
We'll see you next week.